Hello, welcome to the Avid Knits podcast. My name is Sarah. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry, both as Avid Knits. There is also an Avid Knits podcast group on Ravelry where we host make-alongs and do such chatter. We would love to see you over there. If this is your first time, thank you for checking out the podcast. I know there are a ton of them. I really appreciate you stopping by mine. And if you are a returning viewer, a very warm welcome back. So, today is Friday, a day in July. I have no idea, 27 maybe. It's late in July, you guys. It's gonna be August in like 3 days. What is that? And after 2 or 3 days of unseasonably cool weather, we are right back to where we started, and it is in the 90s, and it's terrible, and I'm so done with it. But as Amy Florence says, this is not a weather podcast, and you did not come here to hear me moan about the weather. So we'll just move right on. At the top of the episode, I do want to talk about the knit along that is going on in the Ravelry group. It is called the Summer Sun Make Along, and it is where we are making any type of summer top. It can be a crop, a bralette, a shirt. It can be a layering piece for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere. Something really light that could be used transitionally, since I know that you guys are skiing and such. It must be nice. And that's about it. That runs through August 31st. It can be a work in progress. I am not a nitpicky person, you guys. There's not very many of us in the group, so you have a really, really good chance of winning prizes. And I will talk a little bit more about prizes probably in the next couple of episodes. But I do have some yarn and possibly a bag, and we're going to have some fun stuff to give away. So yeah, it's been a relatively quiet week around here, you guys. There's not a whole lot of admin or top of the episode things that must be talked about right now. So, I did not get a chance last week. I completely forgot to talk about a destash that I would like to do with some of my stuff. I have a lot of things that are deep stash from the first year that I started knitting, like in 2015. Some of it's indie dye, some of it's commercial dye, some of it's the things that are absolutely gorgeous that I love, but I'm just realistically not making anything with, and I figure that they could probably go to new homes. If you'll check out my Instagram, I have a post about that a couple posts back, and I will put it up again in my stories. Probably you'll see this Saturday. Probably this weekend I'll put it back up in my stories. And I'm just looking to rehome the yarn, and any money that I don't use on shipping, I will be donating to Raíces, Texas. And yeah, that's about it. So I will try to make sure that I put that back up so that you can get some information on it. There will be pictures of all of the yarn and prices and everything. And if prices are an issue, you can make me an offer. This is a charity run. I'm not looking to make money off of it. So, all right, I remembered to talk about that. I'm super excited. So I have one finished object for you this week, and it was a work in progress last week. To be honest, it was a work in progress for not very long. I think this took me a total of 9 days. So when I cast this on, it was meant to be a in-between sweaters that I was knitting kind of project that I could just go along and didn't have to hurry to finish. And I failed. I failed at that completely, and I knit the entire thing in like 9 days. So I knit the Time Trades shawl, which is by Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knitworks, everybody knows. And I knitted out of Farmer's Daughter fibers. The white and purple speckle up here in the fan is her Spring Fling colorway. The darker blue variant is Heartbreak Hotel. And then it goes into a mini set that did not have names. I don't know what the minis were, but it is a kit that I have been eyeing for a couple of years since I met Candace and Caitlin at a trunk show in Austin at Hill Country Weavers in like 2017 maybe. And I just never bought it, and I never bought it. And then at Houston Fiber Fest, Suzanne from Hill Country brought the kits with her, and I went ahead and snagged one because she said that Candace is no longer dyeing them. So it is out of her squish fingering base. I have absolutely nothing negative to say about Farmer's Daughter Fibers. Everything from the way the company is run, if you're looking for a woman-owned indigenous company who does a lot of really good work in their local area, that's definitely a company to support. She has wonderful, wonderful bases, and her dyes are phenomenal. She's a beautiful yarn. And yeah, so that is my finished object for the week. So now I don't have anything for in between the knitting except in between sweater knitting except socks. And so I've been really tempted to cast on. I really enjoyed, let me start that over. I really enjoyed the rectangular wrap shape. I like the fact that you have a finite number of stitches. It doesn't just inexorably get bigger and bigger and bigger and take forever. So I was actually looking at the Beach Days wrap by Tracy from the Grocery Girls, and I haven't decided if I'm going to do it, and I have no idea what colors or what yarn or whatever I would knit it in, but that might be a next option for me as far as a palette cleanser, I guess, but then I'm afraid I'll knit the whole thing in like 9 days again. I have work to do, I'm busy, so I'll wait a little bit before I cast that on. So yeah, that's my finished object section. So yeah, for whips, I have a few of those. Got a few things going on there. And the first one that I have is my Pavement Sweater that I got the okay signed off on by Rachel of Night Owl Fibers. So it's a sample for her. And we had coffee this morning so that she could take a look at an issue I felt like I was having, and I got the all clear. So this is the sweater, and it's bunched up on a bunch of needles, so it looks like nothing. And living on it is my little Sucre Circa miniature. I think this is the Worm Moon. I don't really remember. But anyway, it's super cute. And I picked it so that I could be super themey and on brand. This is Rachel's Tawny Owl base, which is a 100% super wash merino. I could be totally lying. If I'm lying, I'll let you know, but I think that's right. And it is in her Space City colorway. Space City is a nickname for the city of Houston because we have NASA. And it's just this medium gray with all of these really bright, fun speckles. It's showing up I get a little bit lighter than... No, I guess that's probably pretty accurate. It's not quite that bright. Like the pops aren't quite that bright. But yeah, so I just separated for the armholes, and if you've ever knit this sweater, those happen really early. So my question to her was about fit with the raglan shaping, because it is constructed a little bit differently than a typical raglan, so you get this really beautiful, there we go, physics. You get this really beautiful definition along your raglan shaping. And yeah, I mean, it's a relatively older pattern. A lot of people have knit it. It's very tried and true. So yeah, I just wanted to get Rachel's go ahead on that before I continued on any farther so that we didn't have to start over. So yeah, that's done. You can look for that sweater. It will be in Vicksburg. September 26th through the 28th at the yarn show that they're at the festival. I know that Rachel will be vending there, and I will give you more details about that when it gets a little bit closer. And she's on her way. So my second work in progress is also a sweater, and it's way over here. I'm sorry, I have to hold on. It's a neck. It's not even to the sleeves. I'm like halfway through the yoke. It's not even. So it's just this cute little thing on some needles. That's it. That's all it is. Yay. And this really beautiful pale mauve with some gray. It's just a wonderful colorway. Is Pajama Day by Sweet Sparrow Yarns, who is Julie. She's based in New Jersey, and her yarn, you guys, her yarn. I'm actually not a big sparkle fan, so I don't know if you can tell, but this has gold stellina in it. Yeah, you can tell a little bit right there, right? There we go. Anyway, it's just gorgeous. This is her Magpie base, which is a 70-20, 75, 20, and then 5. So superwash merino nylon with gold stellina, and yeah, it's amazing. It is one of the softest bases I've ever used. It's definitely the softest sparkle base I've ever used. It's a very, very soft base, and it makes a wonderful, wonderful fabric. So I am knitting the Spectre sweater by Joji Locatelli. And it is a faded sweater. So it will start with this really beautiful light pink up here, and then it will fade. I'm sorry, I slept wrong last night, and so I'm having trouble turning my head in the direction. Yeah, it's one of them days, you guys. So we have Pajama Day. Come on, there we go. And it's this really beautiful speckling and patterning. And then this will fade into, I'm sorry, I'm losing the tag. I'm totally prepared, you guys, I promise. This is just going to be edited out. So anyway, we go from Pajama Day into Wrapped Up in Books. So it's got pinks and blues and a little bit of yellow. So we'll go into Wrapped Up in Books, and then we'll go from Wrapped Up in Books into Blackberry Mousse, and then from Blackberry Mousse into Clove. And all of these are on her sparkle base, and they've all got just these really beautiful mauve tones, and they're really hard to see, but every one of them has just a tiny bit of a gold-ish kind of that goes through it. And then the gold stellina is absolutely beautiful. I really prefer gold stellina to silver most of the time because it is less, I don't know, tinsely maybe? Like it tends to be more subtle and it tends to be a more polished look kind of. So yeah, Spectre by Hoogie Locatelli on the needles, which is really ironic. I was actually joking with Julie whenever we first met a little while ago, because every time I go to her shop, I want all the things and I can't ever decide on what I want. I can never decide on what I want. And so I had actually joked with her, like I finally broke down and I bought a skein of Wrapped Up in Books, which is her second colorway, but I got mine on a merino cashmere base. And I finally broke down and bought that, and ended up getting a skein of some Christmas sock yarn. It's basically it'll do a micro stripe, and I'll show you that whenever I get it on the needles this year. But I had told her, I was like, you know, I'm having such a hard time. Like, I want all of these colors. Like, I can't decide between this and this and this and this and that and the other. And so, actually, really funny story, the sweater that I'm knitting her are all of those colors that I couldn't decide between. And then whenever she sent me that, we actually did a swap, which I will talk about, well, right now, I guess. Whenever she sent me all of that, we also did a swap. And so I had shared with her a couple of months ago, like I was having trouble with all these colors. And ironically, all of the colors she sent me for the sweater is all of the colors I couldn't decide between. And then the only one that was left that I couldn't decide on was this one, which is called Clouds in My Coffee. And I think I really liked it more for the name than necessarily the colors. This really pale blue isn't something that I work with super often, but I really love this colorway. And so whenever she sent me our swap, she included these two skeins for me, which was just so generous. And this is her Robin's Egg color. Both of these are showing up bluer than what they are. They're more towards the green and they're a little softer. So maybe a little bit closer to that. That might be a little bit closer then. Yeah, this is a little bit closer to what it really is. My light's a little bit weird today. We're really yellow today. I'll try to fix some of that in editing and see if I can, whatever. And then she sent me minis, which has been really great because I'm out of minis. I knit shorty socks, and so I always have a ton of sock yarn left over, which is what all of this is. So all of this is sock yarn, this is worsted weight and DK, and then this is just sweater yarn. So like if I need to make repairs or something, I try to keep, like I have the yoke color for my Zwigs, and I have a little bit of the base color just in case I don't know, later on I don't like the cuff or I feel like I need to patch something. I keep just a little bit of it there. And then here I have some minis in this little plate back here, but I've used all of those. Like I'm out of minis that I haven't used except what's up in here. I think I've used most of these, but up in here I haven't used any of these yet because they're not unwound. So anyway, it was really great for her to send me some minis and let me get some of the stuff out of my stash. Not that I really got rid of anything, but anybody else wants to do a mini swap, I have minis for days and I will gladly send you 10 or 20 grams. Just let me know. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, I think. It's gonna be a pretty short episode this week, it looks like. I don't really have all that much to talk about. My husband took we'll call it a mental health day on Monday, and he stayed home so we could play, which was great. So we had a nice 3-day weekend, and we went to see Spider-Man Far From Home, and I knit on a sock like you do, cinnamon knitting. So instead of working on my freshly brewed socks, which I really need to work on because, I have one that's done. Like I just have to do the second one. Instead of doing that, because it's patterned and I can't do that in a cinema, I cast on these socks, which are Peppermint Bark by Woolberry. And this is in her, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't even know what this is in. I don't know if it doesn't feel as soft as a merino, so it might be a BFL, but it might just be a merino. No idea. Tag is long gone, no clue. So anyway, I cast those on, and this is where I got through the cuff, and then I got through this much of the sock, which, considering how much progress I made on my endgame socks, isn't all that much progress. But I really like Tom Holland, and Far From Home was nowhere near the emotional roller coaster that Endgame was. If you haven't seen it yet, feel free to go. Feel like you can go in there with confidence and not cry through the whole thing. Although I have to tell you that Peter Parker does a lot of crying in that movie. So if you cry when people around you cry, you might cry. Anyway, it was a good movie. It was fun. But I got to a point where I just put down my socks and I just wanted to watch the movie, which is kind of rare for me. I'm not really a big moviegoer, but this was my idea. I know my husband really likes to go, and I knew my son would like it. So I offered on Monday, and that's what we did, and it was a good time. And then, yeah. So apparently, my husband's going out with his brothers for dinner tonight. They want to talk about some business adventure that they're planning on getting into. We'll see what happens. My son is going to his grandmother's either tonight or tomorrow. Tomorrow is date night for me and my hubby, or date day. I guess we'll kind of get a weekend out of it, which is really sorely needed right now. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Yeah, I think that's about it. Nice and light and quick and fluffy. So all of you who got to go to the Super Summer Knit Together last weekend, I'm totes jealous. And thank you very much for putting them on your podcast and talking about how much fun it was. Amy Beth, I'm looking at you. She's never going to watch this. Amy Beth of the Fat Squirrel does not have time to watch my little baby podcast. But she's one of my favorites, and she talked a lot about SSK this week, and that was really cool because Leslie and Laura, who are the Knit Girls, they organize SSK, are taking the week off because giant knitting retreat. Totally understandable. And then my favorite, Amy Florence, is in the States, and she's not podcasting while she's here. So as much as I want her to have a wonderful time in the US, I know she really loves it here, and she's having such a good time with her friends, I am super ready for her to go home so she can podcast and tell me all about her week. So I've been catching up on back episodes with her. I'm one of those people that I like to watch from the beginning. And every now and then I'll do it backward. It just depends on how many episodes somebody has. So with Amy, for instance, I've been watching Amy for 3 years now, 2.5, 3 years now, maybe. Two, because I didn't start watching podcasts until I got the new computer, and that was in the last house. So maybe 2. And she has quite a few episodes up, you guys. But I started, 40 episodes back, and then caught back up with her, and then I've just kept up. And now that she's been gone, I started at 1 and I worked my way forward. So I'm still have 30 or so episodes in between where I started the last time and then where I am now. So there's a bunch in there. And I'm kind of tempted to save them for next year so that whenever she goes to SSK again, I can have something to watch while she's gone. I'm a nerd. I'm sorry. So if you have a podcast and I like to watch your podcast, know that I have seen all of them. I try really hard not to comment. It's actually really hard not to comment on all of them as you're watching them because I forget that they're not present day, I guess. I get wrapped up in it, or somebody will say something funny and I'm like, oh yeah, oh wait, you're not gonna get it. Who else have I been watching? I've been watching Jules of the So Sweet Violet podcast, has been doing July vlogs, and that's been really fun. She's very sweet. She's very nice to watch, very relaxing. And I know that her life is just like everybody else's lives, but when she films, it looks very idyllic. It's in the English countryside, and her house that's, she has a redone kitchen, and she has her craft room and her garden. She has the same stresses all of us have. She does have to get into a car and like drive, and she has the same stuff we all have, all the modern conveniences, but it still seems very idyllic from through the computer screen, which is really great. Yeah, other than that, this is a really, really short episode, you guys. Oh, look, my co-host is back, my spider co-host. I'm gonna get off of here. You know that. I'm gonna get off of here, and 5 minutes later, I'm gonna be like, oh, I forgot to tell her about that. I knew something interesting happened. But no, really nothing interesting. We had my niece's birthday last weekend. We went rock climbing, and kids had a lot of fun for that. I am officially free from the birthday clutches for the summer. Like, all of the summer birthdays are done. My next one is my brother-in-law, who will be 28, 29, I don't really remember. Anyway, he's younger than 30, okay, that's all I know. But we lived together for like 3.5 years. Whenever I met my husband, him and his brother had purchased a house together, kind of, and wanted co-signed, and he was just kind of living there rent-free, which was really cool. And then whenever I came along, I didn't feel comfortable being like, well, I'm here, get out. Like, that's not cool. Anyway, we all get along really well, and he did move out very, like, within 6 months. But then we all moved to Idaho, and so I called my brother-in-law, his name is Hyro. I called Hyro, and I was like, hey, oil's crashing in Houston, and I'm afraid you're going to lose your job. Do you want to go to Idaho with us? And he said yes, because that's what he does. He's always down for an adventure. He doesn't really care. So I was thinking the other day about it being his birthday and all of these things, and I crocheted a teddy bear for my youngest niece. I crocheted a unicorn for my oldest niece. My middle niece, which was last weekend, I didn't make her anything, but I have a shawl on the go for her for Christmas. And my husband and I were kind of talking about, like, the last time I knit teddies was like 3 years ago, and everybody was kind of due for a new one. And all the women in my family got socks for Christmas. Not this past year, but the one before. And my father-in-law got socks for his birthday a couple years ago. And the only person in my entire family that I have not knit for is this one brother-in-law. Even the other brother-in-law that I'm not close to and don't see very often and don't have, like, a really good friendship with, even he's gotten a hat. And Hyro has one hat that I knit, like, the first year that we knew each other. And he has a blanket. So I guess I can't say I've never made him anything. But considering that he lived with us for so long, and, like, he's literally my best friend in the family, like, Hyro and I will go to coffee without anybody else and be totally fine with that. You would think that I would make another thing for him, maybe? So if you look really closely, right here, this is Nomadic yarns in the Serious colorway. So it's black and silver and, like, a really dark wine red color. And I was thinking about maybe making him some socks out of that. But I don't know. I think he would also really like this one right here. He likes more color than anybody else in the family does, so I could get away with a lot of stuff for him. So I think maybe I should probably cast those on, since his birthday's coming up pretty soon, and it seems to take me 6 years to make socks now. But I have a sweater in here for my husband that I'd like to have done by our anniversary, which is in October. The sleeves are done. I just have to do the front and the back and sew it together. This is my fingering weight Ingalls sweater. I think I might rip that out. I haven't decided. I'll try it on later and see what I think. I have really fun stuff in my stash. It's really cool to watch it through the camera. Like all these things I should be casting on that I'm not. Yep. All right. That's all the prattling I'm going to do with you today. I'm going to let you get back on with your lives since we're at 25 minutes. And I'm not cutting anything out because I didn't say anything controversial today. Yay me! Yeah. So watch my Instagram. There will be a... You know what? I'm going to talk about it here. I'm going to talk about the destash here because we don't have anything else going on. So I am destashing some of my yarn. And I'm going to pull a couple more skeins out of this cubby right here because I think there's a couple more things in there that I'm going to have to just really be honest with myself about that I'm not going to use. Like I said, it takes me so long. Like I can knit me, my husband, and my son all shorty socks out of a skein of yarn, which is great, except that that's three projects with the same color. And to be absolutely frank, I get bored. You know, and it's nice to be able to put it away and then later on maybe I'll want to pick it up, but I don't generally tend to come back to things. I very, very rarely knit the same thing twice. I might use a pattern as a guideline, or I might knit the same pattern twice. Like I've done this wide twice, but only one of those was for me. And I keep saying I want a second one for myself, but honestly, I don't think I'll ever get to it. There's just too much else out that I want to knit. So, I'm going to do a destash, and I will put a link in the description box to the Ravelry group that will have all of these on it. And then if you would like something from the destash, you can just comment on it there. And we'll just do everything through PayPal, something really, really simple. I don't want to have to open up like an Etsy shop just to do this. That's silly. And with Etsy right now and their new guidelines on free shipping being the priority. Okay, so first up, I have 4 skeins of this Cascade Heritage. It's a sock yarn. It is a 75/25 superwash merino nylon, and it is in the... I don't even know. You know, I don't know if you know this. Cascade does not do colorway names. They only do numbers, and then whenever you look on their website or you put it into the register, then it has a colorway name. So... but it's just this really pretty spring green. It's blowing out. It's not that vibrant. It's more of, yeah, it doesn't glow. Do you know what I mean? Like up here, it looks like really green apple, and it's not. It's more of like a spring leaf kind of color. So it's, yeah, but I have 4 skeins of that. They are 437 yards a piece. So, I mean, that's definitely enough for a fingering weight sweater, easily. And I would like to destash all 4 of them for, I don't know, $35. Let's say $35, because that would be basically you'll pay for 3, get 1 free, and then $5 for shipping. So everything that I don't pay in shipping, I'm going to donate. So yeah, anyway, so there's those. I am destashing this skein of Nomadic yarns in the Oracle colorway. Yeah, take all of these with a grain of salt. They're a little bit, everything I'm going to show you today is going to be just a little bit brighter on camera than what it is in real life. But this is her twisty sock base. It's a 400 yards of an 80/20 merino nylon. Super squishy. There's her little tag. I actually won this in a giveaway a couple of years ago. I will have this skein of Jilly by Dream in Color. This is Jilly with cashmere, so it is a single ply merino cashmere nylon. It's a 70/20/10 merino cashmere nylon, 440 yards in the Secret Garden colorway. So it's got some blues and some browns, some beautiful greens, lots of yellows. Yeah, this is a really, really gorgeous color. Oh, I'm so sorry. You know, we're going to do like an auction type thing. I'll put the prices in the Ravelry group. But I think that the Oracle, I will do $20. $28. The Dream in Color will say $20. I think they're $26 normally, 20 bucks. I'm going to do, this is a skein of Jitterbug by Colinette. The colorway is Purple Tan. There is no tan in here. There's not. It's just, I don't know why they call that, but it's purples with a little bit of pink and some gray. They are, I want to say it's a sport weight. It's a 400 yard, 150 gram skein. So it would be closer to a sport weight. This was $27 originally, so we'll say $20 for this one too. Just, you know, to remind that shipping is included in these prices. So if I say $20, then you'll pay your $20. I'll use whatever I have to ship it to you, and then the rest of it I'll donate. I have this skein of Mountain Colors on their Twizzle Foot base. It's got some pinks, some oranges, some yellows, some browns. This is a really beautiful color. It reminds me, it is not this orange. It's not this orange. It's much more subtly done. But it is Twizzle Foot, which is a 53% superwash merino, 17% domestic wool, 17% silk, and 13% nylon, 450 yards per skein. And this knits up beautifully. It actually knits up a lot like Spin Cycle or any kind of hand spun, where it kind of fades into things. It doesn't actually stripe or anything, but it fades into itself. Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. Next, I have a skein of Mad Tosh in the birch gray colorway. So it's this undyed with light gray speckles. It is the Tosh sock. 395 yards of 100% superwash merino wool. This is originally $28.95, and so we'll do $20 for this one as well. So far it looks like we've pretty much been at $20 for everything except the sweaters quantity, which I will do 4 skeins for $30. Next I have Autumn in Indigo in her single ply vase. This is her single sock. It's 100% superwash merino wool, 400 yards to 100 grams. And this is in her alloy colorway. So it's just various grays with a little bit of, there we go, a little bit of kind of a rusty tan color. All right, and we got a little bit more speckle back here. There's some pinks in there too, huh? Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, so we will do $20 for that one. This is, I don't have the tag for this, but this is a Candy Skein monthly club colorway from 2016. I believe it's the February 2016 colorway. I think it's called Gumball. It's been a long time, you guys. I don't know. But it's just super, super speckly. Lots of fun random speckles. This would make wonderful socks. If I remember correctly, it is a 75-25. I know it was meant to be used for socks, so I'm sure it's a 75-25. Okay, and we will do $20 for that one as well. I have a sweaters quantity of, this is the navy colorway. This is Alexandras Crafts. She's based out of Silverton, Oregon. This is her yak silk merino base. It's called Black Butte. So since the yak is that gray-brown color, all of these colors are very, very deeply muted. So this is showing up as like a bright cerulean, and it's not. It's not. Take the brightness down. I'll see if I can fix some of this in editing, and then if I can, I'll put on the screen that I fixed it so you know what you're getting. Anyway, I have 4 skeins of this. I believe that the 4 skeins is like 1,600 yards. A small note on one skein is that, like, here we have some blemishes where they're undyed. One skein does have where the ties was too tight, and it blips through that. There's this little silver streak there through the whole thing. So that one and this skein are the only 2 that have any kind of imperfections, and this is yeah, so this one is a little bit. So I will do all 4 skeins because of the imperfections. I'll do all 4 skeins for $20. That way, if you need to cut some out, you can. And then I'm not, you know, because they're $27 or $28 a piece, but I don't feel comfortable with some of the imperfections that are in here that I didn't know about whenever I purchased it. So, and then last for now, because I haven't gotten through the rest of my stuff, is this skein of Misty Alpaca Baby Me Boo in the Dory colorway, D-O-R-I, Dory. Where are we? Here we go. Anyway, and we will do $20 for this one as well. So it is a bulky weight. Oh, it says worsted weight. Okay, but it's a bulky 174 yards for 100 grams. I would call that more of a bulky as opposed to a worsted. And it knits up bulky. So, yeah. All right. So those are all of my Destash things. And I will leave a link to them in the description box below, and you can check it out on the Ravelry Group, or you can send me a private message and we will work something out. Don't feel intimidated by any of the prices. None of them are set in stone. If you can't do 20 but you can do 15, then let me know and we'll see what we can come up with, okay? I'm really just looking to rehome them. Yeah, so maybe next time I will have a sample sale or something like that, like a little auction type thing. I'm trying to declutter some of the stuff that I have, some of the things that I know I'm not going to use anymore. Like I have a couple of pretty heavy cowls and scarves. Like we don't live up north, and when we travel up north, I generally tend to take one thing because we're traveling and I'm not going to take a bunch of stuff. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out and chatting with me. Yeah, if you like the podcast, give me a thumbs up, maybe subscribe, and we will talk about something else next week. So, goodbye.